Now, better? Okay, good. Technology. Well, sorry I'm a little bit late, but in the morning my house is a mess with my little kid, preparing her for daycare and everything. So, but we managed to be almost on time. How's everyone? It's so good to see you again. I'm really happy. How's it been?
Very good, very good. Thanks. We're just entered autumn now, so it's starting to cool down a wee bit. So that's quite nice.
Nice.
So how old is your child?
2 years and a half.
Wow. I'll start asking lots of questions soon.
Yeah, and demanding a lot.
Good luck.
I know she's like the little boss right now, so.
That's great. But why? But why?
How is the rest?
Gavin's nodding. Did you want to go first, Gavin? I'll go first, shall I? Yeah. So I'm good, thank you. Yep. So my big revelation in the last few days has been, because you all know me well enough to know I get really stuck on there being something to do. Yeah, okay, so I can, but how? Like, give me surely there's got to be a technique or something. And over the weekend, I heard it explained as, I don't know if it's just probably the same way you've told us, but my ears heard it in a different way. And you know this metaphor we talk about of being in the play, and the actors being the characters. And suddenly my brain went, so it would be like the characters trying to do something in the play to try and know that they're the actor.
Yeah.
And that was like, wow. So really, like I really feel okay about there being nothing to do now, because I've seen it that it was just so funny when I saw it like that. Yeah, so that was my big news today.
That's big news though.
Yeah, it felt like big news. Even before in this half an hour when we often meditate, today I was just like, why do we even need to, like, who's meditating and what for? To get what? To achieve what? There's nothing to be done, so why bother? Sorry if that's like, I don't know, dissenting.
No, but it's important to get clarity on it, because all this time we've been fooled, by mind, by thoughts, by emotions, by sensations, by achieving, by I gotta get this, I gotta achieve that, I gotta maintain this. All these just, traps, that it's all ingrained in ego, it's fascinating. And I was mentioning one day, like, if you really, instead of going outward in doing and achieving, just try to understand really where everything comes from. Why do you act? What do you need? Why all of this, like a little baby, asking these why questions? Why? And suddenly you end up already calm. If you don't follow the reason why you have to do something in order to achieve something, you realize that you're already calm, at peace, you're already in love, you're already everything before any subtle movement about anything, So that's big news, because something that I don't know, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the moment that you don't follow any thought pattern or idea or desire at all, and you stay empty without doing anything at all, I mean, just here, it's like so natural, so natural. Then the other fantasy of I have to perpetuate or hold on to is, or make sure that this experience of feeling of whatever doesn't go away is not even there. It can be there because all those things can only be there if there's already, you found something, you are experiencing something, you are feeling something. That something will create another fantasy that will keep on try to justify itself in different areas, you know. But if you just don't follow any of those things at all, not the doer, not the achiever, not the desirer, not the one that understands, the one that doesn't understand, nothing at all, just here, natural, you know. The subtle lies just are, they reveal themselves as lies because nothing applies to you. If you don't hold on to it, don't make it a real, don't justify it, don't give it a name, immediately it doesn't apply to you. As you mentioned, you're just the witness of a play. Sometimes it can be a crazy play, of course. Sometimes it can be a calm play, awesome. Sometimes there's gonna be expansion of a play, but the expansion happens within the play. You know, everything that happens is on the movie. Everything that happens. The one watching the movie, nothing happens to it. Nothing happens to it because it's so unattached or making distance, you know, from whatever it is watching. The first, just to finish, and then we can go with any other discoveries. But this is amazing. Imagine, how can I put it into graphic? Imagine a balloon made out of water, let's say, made out of water, you know, just one balloon made out of water. If you squeeze it through the middle like this, you know, the shape of the balloon will take, like, let's say 2 shapes, but in the middle there's gonna the appearance of a tube connecting them because you are squeezing it, okay? In that tube, where it connects one side to the other side, that connection between the manifested and the unmanifested and all of those things, the first one is the witness. The witness is the connection between everything that no one ever can see, because it's all about beyond the witness, of course, but the witness is the connection link to everything, you know. But of course, when we don't recognize the subtleties of the game, everything that appears to be witness is in the terms of separation, me and you, the witness witnessing something and things like that, you know. And of course, within the play, it's okay to share like that, you know, and witnessing thoughts, you know, it's fine because we're having fun, that's all. But in the innermost game, everything, there's no separation between, because for witnessing to happen, there has to be this phenomena that a thing has to be witnessed by witnessing. So there's not separated, it's always one playing with itself. But of course, when you play with me and you, separation exists. Of course, in the realm of fantasy, it doesn't exist, but in the realm of fantasy and hallucination, because that's what it is, I feel separated, or I'm here, you are there. So one of the most powerful ways to really start to detach from identifying as if everything in front of you can define you is playing with the witness, because it's a connected link between the witness and the reality of being. Because in the reality of being, when it comes full force, all separation and limitations dissolve forever, you know. But the game, it changes. For example, like I said, before it was the witness, let's say witnessing something. When the reality of being comes forward, everything is it. So for example, the experiencing of witnessing is the self being witnessing. It's not something separated from it. Even the things that are in front of the witnessing is the same, the self being those things. The experience is, I am all. I am everything. You know, it's different, you know, like the best I can describe it is, for example, you know that you are. That's impossible not to say it. You always will be, you have to always say, I am. You cannot say, I am not, you know, that's fascinating. So you have an immediate experience of your I amness, let's say. However, that might look for you, but you have an experience of I am. So imagine that that the veil breaks, that I am translates into everything I am, without the knowledge that I am. You know, it's tricky to put into words, but that would be when the reality of the self kind of like comes forward in terms of the experience I amness, without the acknowledge or the consciousness that I am, even though that is there, you know, but now it's not separated or seen as things, because things doesn't exist at all. And yet the experience of everything that is and is the self in its most fascinating expression. Is just humbling, you know. That's why I said it's tricky sometimes to really break free from illusion, just to call it that way, that the play and the, you know, the movie, because at the end of the day, you are everything. So that's why you cannot really completely take a lot of distance between you and everything, because at the end of the day, you're everything. Everything is within you. But the clarity and the invitation here is that even though that you are everything, everything can't show the fullness of who you are. And it can reflect back the light of lights that you are. It can't. And that's important to recognize. So everything that is in front of you can never tell the fullness of you. Of course, it can tell a lot of things about you, but at the same, it can't. That's why you end up with these paradoxes. Apparently, we're talking a different language that is talking about how to say the incongruencies. You're talking about one thing, and then we're talking about something else, like it exists but doesn't exist. You know, you end up trying to explain reality by language and by concepts and by things like that, when who you are can never be pinpoint with concepts or anything like that. You know, it's tricky, you know. That's what is so simple, just to be, just be. Don't follow any thought, don't follow any desire, and you are already complete. That's fascinating. You know, you end up just recognizing the simplicity of being, and in the most simple things, they're already full, you know, they're already full. And anything besides this is just mental fantasies that are happening still within the game of consciousness and all this cosmic arena, which is an amazing game, you know. But now the game doesn't define us, doesn't define our inner reality. Of course, it can impact, let's say, the body. Of course, if you cut your finger with a knife, of course, it's going to have an impact on the body, you know, but it doesn't going to have an impact on you, because you're not the body. You know, I can get sick, and of course I'm going to experience the things that the body has to experience, but that has nothing to do with with ourselves. And when you just make this little distinction, your real reality, where you are really, is never touched by anything, even though that appears that it's being touched by life. If you pay close attention to it, it never touches it. What touches life is the sensations. Life touches the emotions. Life touches the perceiver consciousness, the witness. It touches those kind of, through the power of conscious awareness. It touches that, but you're behind it, and you can never be touched. No light can enter there, you know. Last example. If you go to the deepest part of the ocean, light doesn't reach it. There's no way. You know, it doesn't. There's aliveness there, you know. In the deepest part of the ocean, no light can actually enter. It's completely black, dark, a void of everything. And yet there's life. And that's kind of like where you are really. You are so beyond that kind of light. This is a different light, of course. It's a different light. Your light is a different light. And that's the invitation here. So you can play from the deepest part of where you are, which is beyond any kind of light, anything perceivable. And the best example for that would be total emptiness. You are already empty of everything, about concepts and ideas. Your own nature, your true self is empty of everything. It has to be. Otherwise, there wouldn't be even the subtle possibility of the witness. It's just a possibility, you know? The witness in itself has always been empty in order to be able to witness. Otherwise, it cannot be witnessing. Witnessing in itself can have thoughts, because thoughts are being witnessed by the witnessing quality. So witnessing is always present. So the witnessing is always free. Otherwise, it wouldn't be witnessing. Whatever you are witnessing, you have the witnessing aspect has to be beyond everything that you're witnessing. Otherwise, it stops being witnessing, you know? It's so simple. Witnessing is always free. Otherwise, it wouldn't be witnessing, ever. Whatever is being witnessed is a thing, a happening, a phenomena, a color, a sensation, or whatever. So witnessing in itself is free of everything that is being witnessing about whatever. And you are the witness, so you have always been empty, free of everything, ideas, identification, gender, name, form, because all of those things are being witnessed and recognized by the witness. But of course, here the invitation is for you to don't identify with the witness as if it were you. It's a really powerful gift to be the witness of it all, and yet that can define who you are. That would be just the invitation to be empty again and let it all unfold. That's how simple this is, you know. The witness will never be able to do anything. That's why the maturity of the growth or the purity of cleansing between the false notions and lies that we believe to be, suddenly you as the witness, you can't do anything, because witnessing is not a doing. Doing is a action, achieving, getting, you know, all those things are mechanisms happening in front of you that life has for different things for life, you know. That's fine. Like I said, everything has its place. Everything in life has its place, but it has its place in the play, you know, in the movie. Everything has its place in the movie. For example, you are looking at a beautiful painting, you know, you are in front of your room and there's a paint in the wall. If you pay close attention to the paint, the birds are there for a reason, to have a contrast, I don't know, with the clouds, with the mountains, you know. That's the movie. That's the paint. Everything that exists within the paint is to justify the paint. Everything that has its place. Like a beautiful orchestra. Everything has its place. Beautiful. A symphony. How is it?
Symphony.
A symphony, exactly. A symphony, just life itself playing. Everything has its place. Time, space, colors, black, white, up and down. Yes. But outside the movie, outside the play, nothing has value outside the paint. Nothing at all. Outside, of course, like I said, everything within the paint is to justify the paint. But that's it. Outside the paint, whatever is in the paint is useless for outside the paint. You know, that's why when you recognize whatever is happening in front of you as a big movie or a big paint, it has its place. Beautiful. You don't reject it. You don't push it away. You don't deny it. You don't try to look in a different way. Nothing. It's part of the game. But to really awaken or enlightenment means you are outside the play. And yet the play keeps going on, but in front of you. And everything that happens in front of the play has nothing to do with the witness of the play. Ever. That's why it's so simple. The moment you know that you are the witness, the trying, the doing, the rejecting, the hiding, the changing goes away. And yet the body has to go through whatever it has to do. But if you pay attention that the body, whatever it's doing, is just for the sake of life, beauty, love, because still those flavors are within the play. We're playing in the source of everything, your own natural place, you know. That's why these distinctions help you realize the simplicity of being, the simplicity of you as the witness of it all. And then the invitation is to discover the reality of the witness. No, the reality of the witness is not what is being witnessed, is the witness backwards. How would that be? And that's, like I said, the being the witness is not the final destination. And for that is tricky. It's just like I always say, they're just pointers, signals, pointing out to something so pure, so pure that no concept, no feeling, nothing can actually express it. And yet you are that. And that's the only thing that will make sense out of everything. The clarity that you have always been that. And that has no name, no form, no shape, no characteristic. It's beyond space, time, nothingness, consciousness, being, no being, self, no self. It's beyond all of those things. They're just pointers. Just for the sake of our conversation, I just give it a name to the reality of the self, because of course it's within the self I amness, let's say, but it has nothing to do with that. They're just pointers, you know, and they're just so simple. Then the fantasy is clearer and clear what it is, the play and the game and the illusion, and the one that has never been touched by illusion. Fascinating. Sometimes they sound like riddles, but they're not. If you just listen with the heart, without any comparison or anything, it's like, wow, of course, it's just so natural. It's like basic knowledge, you know. And like I said before, like sometimes we share examples that probably contradict each other, but they don't. You know, because like I said, fire, I don't know if I said it here, but like fire can be warm, it can warm you up, it can heat your food, but it can burn, you know. It has all these qualities all together within itself, you know. That's why when we talk about this kind of depth into the self, into the being, you end up with exploring some other aspects of it, you know. They don't contradict each other. You're just looking from a different angle of a reality that is beyond words, you know, which is you. Makes sense if you look at everything from the point of being, you know. It makes sense. You have something, Gemma, sorry?
Oh, it's okay. It came and it went. Thank you, though.
Yeah, I was thinking about timelessness today. I was talking to my son and I said, what have you been doing the last 3 days? And he said, oh, I went down this Wanganui River. And I actually went down there 30 years ago myself. And I said, oh, yeah, well, I went down there 30 years ago. And when I went down there, my kayak got caught between two rocks and I nearly drowned and it gave me a big fright. And he goes, the same thing happened to me. I went, what? And so, yeah, so he went down there, had the same experience, and unbeknown to me, I went, wow, is he me? Is he another parallel universe? So I had that whole synchronicity, the whole timelessness feeling. It's quite shook me up a bit, to be honest. But yeah, it's funny, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's his DNA. He's just treading the same path as his father, but it's strange.
Yeah, what looks strange is more common now,
Yeah.
You end up with these insights and deep, mysterious connections about experiences, things, events. And it's a beautiful thing because it keeps pushing you. The invitation is there's a profound unknown miracle going around in everything, connecting everything, even past events, that sometimes they look that they don't relate to each other, but they are relating to each other for either a conversation, an insight, a profound understanding that there's things beyond our capability of knowledge, immediate knowledge, and it's fascinating when you pay close attention, everything just is pointing out to something that no one can actually describe, even reality or nothing. Is like it keeps you humble into there's more in the unknown that you might think. There are energies in play and makes you humble and appreciative, and which is a fascinating game, and gift.
It's amazing. A dance of life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Talking about time, I was having a conversation with two students this morning about time. And I don't know, she said something about the past, and I said, well, the past doesn't exist. She kind of argued it a bit. And I said, well, where is it? Point to the past. And she kind of did a funny face. And then I said, and where's the future? Does the future exist? Where is it? Point to it. And then she said, oh yeah, okay, but there's a now. And so I said, well, where does the past stop and the now begin? And where does the now stop and the future begin? And so we were jostling back and forth. And then this is something I'd heard over the weekend. So I thought, oh, I'll play with her with this. And so I said, so how long is the present moment? Is it a minute or half a minute or a nanosecond? And we were sort of playing. But really, time exists in the dream. But I'm just starting to see the fullness of the joke of it. And then you think about, not to poo-poo other teachers and other things too much, but the power of now with Eckhart Tolle, there's a whole spiritual community hanging on every word of being about now. And I'm just like, what a joke. Now's in the illusion. Now's in the game. It doesn't exist. Anyway, that was my musings on time for the day.
No, what is fascinating, every message out there also has its part, like a symphony. Like I said, sometimes you have to have a trumpet, sometimes drums, different flavors of the same manifestation. But not many are ready to pay attention to a wider, more holistic view of everything, to really enjoy the whole symphony. Because the only way you can actually enjoy the whole symphony is from the starting point of your I amness. And to play in your I amness, you have to let go of everything that you think you are and everything that you think you know. Otherwise, you won't be able to play in your I amness as a natural way of being, you know. And that's the entrance, like I said, to something amazing. But to really be able, like I said, if you are in a concert, the only way you can actually, because the concert in all its beauty, I know you can hear trumpets, angels, sometimes demons over there just making a crack out of things, you know. But at the same time, like everything is just the first gift of everything, or the symphony saying, "There's a witness of my song." That's the first gift, you know. Otherwise, imagine you are in a movie theater and there's no one there. There's not gonna be a movie played. If no one shows up to a concert, there's not gonna be a concert. There has to be someone there first in order to the concert start. That's the first gift. That's the first signal. Otherwise, there wouldn't be anything. You know, and that's something that we missed. Who's that witness? Who's that observer? Who's that watcher? And then the question: what's its reality? From where does it stand or sits? How does that witness, let's say, feel, experience things, or witness reality, or whatever? You know, those kind of questions push you into the you know, the curiosity, the investigation of you, because at the same time you are that which is witnessing everything. And of course, everything that happens, the gift is don't stay nowhere, don't conclude anything, because like I said, the now is not the highest reality, but people at least have a place to hold on to so their lives can improve. And of course, their lives will improve, you know, in some area. In another areas, it's going to be weakness, rejection, uh, because the moment you make it about anything, even though the now, you're going to push away any other possibility, even in terms of time, you know, because like I said, in the game, within the game, as I said, within the play, time has its place too. That's why you can go to work at 8, you know. That's why you can cook and you don't burn the kitchen, you know. But it's a really relative simple experience of time. It's just something little thingy here in the game of manifestation. You know, when people are so ingrained in not knowing who they are, everything is so big, you know, time is so big and I gotta manage it. Or the past, I gotta fix it, heal it. Or the future, I gotta make sure that it looks the way I want it to look like, because it's so big, you know. Their understanding of things, of themselves, is so little that everything becomes so big. They don't know themselves fully, so everything in front of them, it becomes so big. I gotta know this, I gotta know that, I gotta be an expert of this and that and that. And that's okay if you're how to say it, if you have the proper understanding that you're just having fun in life. But if you don't take anything for you, as everything you are doing is gonna make you closer to recognizing who you are, it's a lie, because everything is the opposite of making it closer to recognize who you are. It's the opposite. Everything is to take you away from who you are, because the starting point is that you don't know. Who's that one that doesn't know? And then you are empty again, and you recognize that you know that you are, but now you have removed all the, how do you say it, labels and ideas and notions that you think apply to you. You know, some people need some tools and things to hold on to for a little while, until their hearts start screaming, saying, well, this is not the answer. Not even the now is the answer. Not even, there's gonna be a moment, but for some that not even the witness is the answer, because they're so mature into the recognition of things that even the witness is not the final, you know, the final game. You know, everybody is in different stages of the game, in the playing the instruments and exploring their own passions, you know, but some are in a different quality of intimacy with their own selves, that the perception of, how to say it, the advancement or the progression, it looks like that, but it's not like that. You know, refines, you know, the invitation to, hey, don't conclude anything as if it were you. The one that is not even the witness of things can define who you are either. It's just a invitation to rest even in a pure, non-validistic way about anything. Then you're freer, more freer, more natural. You know, self is simpler than breathing, and you don't question breathing. You know, you don't perpetuate breathing. You don't make sure that you're conscious breathing. Self is even easier than watching, than seeing life. You don't question all the time, am I opening one eye, two eyes? Is it clear? Is it blur? Do I have to put eye drops all the time? Do I have to perpetuate and stay here with my never blinking? So I don't lose sight. You know, I have to be so present that I don't lose the present moment. I'm blinking. You're like, what are you doing? You know, it's so simple, you know, but that's the fantasy of when people treat enlightenment, awakening, the self, because they're just terms pointing out to things. Even the self is a pointer, you know. Like I said, the reality of the self is still a pointer. But even those things, when you make it about a thing, that's what is going to happen. It's important to understand the self will never be a thing. It will never be a thing. You will never be able to grasp it, touch it, embrace it, feel it. It will never happen. It's because it's not a piece of cloth, you know, it's not a piece of wood that you just find somewhere that got lost. That's why this game is so tricky, because if you pay attention to everything, you notice that things are being presented and you can watch things, let's say. The real self will never be able to see itself because it's not a thing, it's not a phenomenon. That's why you have always been that which will never be found. You can only be it. And why so easy? Because you have always been it. So the moment that you don't listen to this fantasy of finding, searching, grabbing, you know, holding on to, is like, wait a minute, that doesn't apply to self. You know, that's why this little example clarify things. The eyes can't see themselves. They can't. The tongue can taste itself. The fingers can touch themselves. They can't. You know, the sun cannot see itself. The self will never be able to see itself, experience itself, you know. It is. That's why when I say that you already are, you know that you are. That's it. That just is, without the knowing of that it is, and yet it is. That's the self in all its glory, unbounded, infinite, free, full, beyond everything, you know. That's why the waste of time, everything is a waste of time. Any doing is a waste of time. Any achieving is a waste of time. Because it is about things, you know what I mean? It's just everything is about things. But the curiosity is, who's that one which is able to see things? And if you pay close attention to what I'm saying, the pointer is that you will never be a thing that can be watched or witnessed. And that's the invitation, you know? And that's the one that we're exploring here. Everything is about that, you know? You want to explore something without limitations and boundaries, feel your own self and stop acknowledging things in front of you as if it were in front of you, and you end up in a different game. There's nothing that has unboundedness like you. I mean, space is unbounded. I give you that. And yet it has a limitation. And it's you in the first place. Otherwise, what's the point? Like I said, what's the point of going to a place when there's no one there to witness it? Even space. As beautiful as it is, it needs a witness of it. So you're really important, don't you think? The most important piece of the puzzle. The one that can watch the puzzle and play in the puzzle. You know? There's nothing more important than you. So you gotta treat yourself with that level of love. How? Don't define yourself. Don't look for anything. Why? You know, this pushes you to stay where you are. Just be as you are. Just be without I am this, I am that. Just be. And it's so freeing, you know. And whatever happens in your own cosmic, beautiful adventure is going to be from a different platform, you know. It's going to be from fullness. Of course, there's going to be a lot of qualities of mysteriousness, of course. You know, that's life. It's magic. And you're just going to enjoy a really immense, beautiful, full of love show. You know, but you're not part of it. Your body is part of it. Of course, the body's within the game, but you are beyond it and you're just watching everything, enjoying the cosmic movie that is being created by your heart. Sometimes it's a crazy movie. There's crazy movies. Sometimes it's a fun movie. There's fun movies. But yet, it's a movie, you know. So just leave everything in the movie where it is. And just don't take it to the realm of I, your I-ness, you know, let's say. And there's tremendous freedom, you know, tremendous. And whatever you do from there, just enjoy. Just enjoy, you know. It was just a joke. Everything was just a cosmic joke. You know, everything was just a joke. Really fascinating. But people don't get the dark jokes sometimes. You know, still the black humor, you know. I don't know what's the term of a dark humor, you know, dark humor, you know. This is a really dark humor, you know. It's like, whoa. Like you are the infinite, believing to be finite, you know. That's a hell of a dark joke, you know. You know, it's a joke still, you know. The universe is having fun. Yeah, unbelievable. Unbelievable. If you believe you have boundaries, that's how it's gonna feel, you know. It doesn't make it real. You know, you let's say for example that you think that you feel that I'm talking about myself, you know. And there were moments that I believe that I had so much lack that I wasn't good enough about for anything. I mean, I was a mess, completely mess, and I believe that to be true so strong, so strong, that energetically, physically, I was exhausted. I couldn't sleep. I was tired because even though that's not true, always everybody has beautiful gifts, you know, but the belief that you don't have it can make you, you know, drain. You know, it's not true, doesn't make it true, but you believe in the belief can make it true. You know, and believing that you are not the self, and believing that you are separated, and you believe that there's a you and a me. That's not true, of course, but it can feel that way, you know, but that doesn't make it true. Don't believe anything, don't desire anything, don't acknowledge anything, don't give it a name to anything, not even to your own self. Be empty, be quiet, do nothing, stay here, empty, watchful, vigilant, alert, whatever word can actually just pinpoint the natural way of being, which is like I said, the first quality of it is witnessing. It is natural to be the witness. That's why you have never questioned it. You don't need to. You're always witnessing everything all the time. You know, all the time. When it looks rough, you're just witnessing roughness. That's it. That's it. When it looks light, you are witnessing lightness. Has nothing to do with you. Nothing has nothing to do with you. Nothing at all. And then when the curiosity is, who's that witness? Even that has to be challenged. As natural as it is, it has to be challenged. That's why awakening and full awakening, a deeper challenge has to happen. That's why the self is trying to, and it will manifest itself in all its glory as I am, in your own self, as the self walking on earth. Like that's the experience. And that's why the invitation is the acknowledgement of the question to who's that one, which is finally pushing back to the deepest of your own self to finally be the self walking. Not the fantasy of a me with its limitations and notions and doubts and fears and lacks. No, let the self walk on earth and remove you, and the invitation is like, hey, who's that one? That's the pull. So the, that which is behind all masks and ideas and identifications can come forward without any doubt and live fully, that's who you are, without any fears or, how to say that in English, neither demands or pretending or trying to be something. Just be, be without conditions in any area. In any area. That's why the challenge of the question points to the starting point of duality and misconception and the misunderstanding that you have thought that you were something separated from self, and it has always been the self. It has always been that, playing, watching the game in all levels, all areas. That's why the question and the challenge to who's that one breaks. Like you have a balloon out of air and you just grab a needle and boom. That's the question. That's the question. That's the direction. It will blast, the balloons. And there can be so many balloons, but you just ping, 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 ping. And then you end up empty. Again, empty. Amazing.
Even science has come around to saying something doesn't exist until it's witnessed. Even they've worked it out.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
True. And science will never be able to reach the reality of the witness. That's something that will never, it will never happen. Because that requires a different, more the dance towards the witness than towards the witnessing. Because even the phenomena of science of the witness and no witness, even that is being witnessed by something pure. The absence of witnessing is still there's a witness of it. Otherwise, how can you acknowledge there's not a witness or the absence of things? That's why all the only way is through the great masters, those kind of invitations. Because science is everything about the perceivable world. And within the perceivable or the unperceivable world is still being a watcher, a witness that is wrapped in consciousness. Of course, and here is more than that. But of course, there's evidence of these things now, which is beautiful, Beautiful. When I was a little kid, I remember I started to, I don't know if you, I don't know how you, if you see this, I'm sure you see this, but when I was a little kid, I started to learn about mathematics. And there's this draw that I was taught when I was a little kid that is like 0. There's a frog that jumps into 1. There's a frog that jumps into 2 and 3 and 4 like that, you know? And I was curious because they started to teach me then that between 0 and 1, there's 0.9, 0.8, and like that, you know? And I remember when I came up to that picture, I started to get dizzy because the moment I saw the picture is like the infinite in numbers in manifestation started to like, there's no ending to the numbers. There's no end. 0 to Jesus, there's no end. But then at the same time, there was a headache because you will never touch 0, not even to 0.01. You will never be able to touch it. So how can you say 0.9 exists when you can never, you can go to infinity, 0, 0, 0.00000 and never even touch 1? And I was like, I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, how can you say something exists when if you pay close attention to it, you will never touch it? It has never happened. It will never happen. You know, I remember I was with these questions. It's like, I was like, yeah, only a mathematician understands. So they give a presumption or a, I don't know. But for me, it never touches. You really pay close attention and you divide it. And that's how you end up that everything appears to be as if it exists when yet it doesn't exist. You know, really. It's amazing, even physics have that realm of investigation, you know. Another fascinating concept that of course, I'm not really a mathematician, but and of course, I cannot really talk about these things, but I was just fascinating, just introduction of things, that if you put together everything that is perceivable, all the galaxies, all the planets, all the stars, everything all together is just like no more than the size of a, I don't know, like a little ball, and everything else is just emptiness. You know, it's like 4% material, I don't know, 70% dark matter, and I don't know, 60% nobody knows about. You know, it's like, and we make everything in front of us so real, so real and so important, and we act that way. You know, a desire presents itself, and then we act it out. A feeling comes, we act it out. You know, I want peace, we act it out. I want to stay here in the now, we act it out. Everything in front of us, things, colors, sensations, notions, and yet there's so much depth in your I-ness. It's unbelievable.
We're like puppets, really, aren't we?
Yeah. Your job is to break the strings.
True.
The string is time. String is consciousness. The string is desire.
True.
The string is intention. The string is doing. The moment you just notice that those were strings, you're free from them. And then the last string is the conscious way of being, of I-ness thingy. It's tricky to put into words. You know, it's tricky. Like, it's so tricky to talk about these things. You know, it's tricky. It's tricky. For you to just realize that you have never had strings. The moment the illusion breaks, you know that you were the puppet and that you were the puppet master too.
True.
And you were the strings and the illusion of strings and the process of breaking the strings too. You are everything, literally. That's why that I said it's so tricky to break from the illusion or to have an understanding what it is duality, because at the end of the day, the appearance of duality you are. For example, last example, and then whatever you want to share, because sometimes it is like this. But for example, like I said, I'm not really good in these things, but the appearance of the sky is just an appearance, you know. The blueness of the ocean too is an appearance. Of course, there's a lot of chemicals and nature things happening that create the appearance of things, but you can't remove the sky from the experience of nature. You can't take it away from nature. You know, the sky is in nature, the clouds, everything is in nature. You cannot really take it out of it, even though that it appears to exist but doesn't exist. It's still within the game of of nature, you know, in its beauty. You know, you cannot take it away from it. It's within the game of nature, you know, the expression of nature. That's why it's even the illusion of duality, you cannot really take it away from the self, because still part of this beautiful cosmic symphony, amazing symphony. But you gotta take it away. You have to break from it as if it were happening to you. That's when everything makes sense. When the actor is pretending to be a rabbit, you know, he's just pretending to be a rabbit. Being a rabbit doesn't take the knowledge that you are a human, let's say. You're acting to be a rabbit, but the knowledge that you are a human, pretending to be a rabbit doesn't take it away. Pretending to be a human doesn't take it away that you are a divine being. So the closer you get, or you go beyond the subtle perspective of the pretendance arena, because you're pretending to be a rabbit, then you're pretending to be a human because you're pretending. You think you are a human, you're not a human. If you go closer, you end up the self, unbounded, at the beginning of everything, at the root of everything. And the rest is fine, has no problem. Of course, playing in the realm of the game of the self is freeing. You know, because example, imagine that the actor, there's this a scene in the play that the rabbit is running from a wolf and is shaken by fear. But that's a human actor just pretending to be shaken by fear, okay? From the perspective of the rabbit, is like, no way, I don't want that. Of course you don't want that. But from the perspective of the actor, it's just an intense, having fun experience of connection, of creativity, of art. You know, that's it. Pretending to be a rabbit doesn't affect one iota to the actor. If you go the same applies to the humanness and to the divine nature of you. Everything is clear if you play from your divine nature. All the fantasy like goes, and you just laugh. If you try to solve things or understand things from the perspective of the rabbit, chaos, you know, chaos, effort, suffering, trying, confusion, doubt. But just one step closer to your own self. More freedom, more peace, more clarity, more self-centered, let's say, groundedness of being, you know, rooted in your own self. And then you keep that dance, and then you end up free of everything. The doer, the perceiver, everything. It's just, if you just allow yourself to be without any, if you don't put any label on you about anything, and you end up being empty and quiet again. It's fascinating. Just attentive, quiet, empty here. No more than that, simple.
I guess I just have maybe a comment about desire.
Mm-hmm.
Then, like the yoga philosophy, there's, I think it's Raja and Dvesha, or like, non-attachment, clinging and pushing away. And this idea that we should somehow let go of being attached or let go of our desires. But that's just silly because the desires inherently belong to the person. There's nothing wrong with them. They're just part of the game. We don't need to do anything with the desire. We just need to know that we're not the one having the desire. Right? So there's nothing wrong with wanting this or wanting that, as long as, I guess that's where I was misled in the past, or I misunderstood in the past, is desire. This whole desire thing sometimes like insinuates that one should have more self-control, should want less, or should be more rigid about this, or I should not let myself have that, or this element of control, when all that's really needed is just to know that the person having the desires never existed in the first place, doesn't exist, so therefore nor does the desire, really. Is that right?
Yeah, in a way, yes, of course. Like I said, everything has its place, within the game, within the picture, within the movie. Why would you reject anything? Everything is part of it. The thing is, like, don't let anything define you, how you would act or react or decide. The moment you break or don't listen to the false I, everything will be according to plan in the most beautiful, pristine, perfect way in each moment for the sake of the game. Sometimes you gotta say no, sometimes you gotta say yes, perfect. But it has nothing to do with you now. Now it has to do with the game itself, with the love for the game itself. Desires within the game it's okay, beautiful, enjoy them. But I remember that everything I was doing I was bringing all the time to the game of myself. I need to find this, I need to experience this because I need it, because I'm lack of this, like always put myself in the equation. If you remove the I in the equation, life is expressed in desires. There's nothing wrong with anything. Just you gotta be really clear that you don't put more desires in the game of I-ness, because that's, of course, the tricky that perpetuates more it fuels the desirer. Because in order for there to be desires, there has to be one that desires them, and the one that desires them, of course, has to be watching or living a lack in order to bring the desire. Desire always comes from lack, always. I'm talking more in the more intimate game. Like I said, I have no problem. I want to eat a pizza today. I want to go to the amusement park with my baby. It's fine. It's beautiful to express life in love, and it's fine. But when you bring it to the closest of you, of your own being and your own reality, that's where the mess starts. Enjoy. That's why always my invitation: enjoy, have fun, eat a lot of ice cream. I don't know, whatever. But that's another game. That's fine. Whatever you decide in your own arena, that's okay. Here's more to the most intimate arena: your true self. Your true self has never had any lack, doesn't see any lack. It might see opportunities, it might see challenges within the game or the movie, that's fine, but has nothing to do with your I-ness. You are complete, and then you'll see that from that perspective, everything is complete. Everything is full. Bizarre full sometimes, but not the less full, Just, it's fascinating. Just these little things can make a difference, of misunderstandings, of misleading too. Because it's misleading too when you don't understand and you think you understand, is misleading. That's what the game is. So it has to be so intimate, so you can have examples of proper conversation, so you can clarify. And then there's peace. Of course, there's peace, because then you don't reject things, because like I said, everything has its place in its own moment. I talked with a friend yesterday, and I mentioned that I remember when I published a lion on Instagram. So I don't remember right now the quote, but it was like, a dangerous person is a one that is weak, that hasn't, how to say that, his most fierce side of oneself, the dark side, if you will call it, if you don't have it into terms, if you don't have it integrated, if you haven't take control of it, you're a dangerous man. In the I don't know, in the reality of that word, you can make harm of people. But a person that has integrated everything of oneself, the light, the dark, and everything, without negation and everything, that's a proper person, like a lion meditating. That's the picture of it. It was a lion meditating, you know, because there's moments that you have to act for life, you gotta be strong. Of course, there's many people that haven't integrated their passion side, let's say, and it's created a mess, because it's been, they're judging it, they're pushing it away. And that happens a lot in the spiritual world. There's a lot of sensitivity and love and openness that people will take advantage of you if you're like that, and you don't put your foot in the ground and said stop it. And it's easy to be manipulated. you know I've seen it, I've been there. It has its place if you integrate everything without conditions. Sometimes you gotta say no, and say no, you gotta be strong enough to don't get pulled by the water of life and the current of life. You gotta stand, let's say, for yourself and say no, I'm not gonna go that path. And that requires strength, decision, love. And in another level, you gotta be so strong that you gotta say no to duality. That requires a different strength. To break free from illusion, it's tremendous fearfulness. I mean, it's a strange thing, because it's a beautiful combination between the most humble, beautiful, tender, simple, quiet qualities. Let's say a little rabbit, and you grab the most fearful, powerful quality too in the other side of the coin. You can, let's say, a white shark or a lion that are hungry, and you combine the two. And then the probability of breaking the illusion might happen. Imagine a weak chicken, a little, how to say that, a little chicken, baby chicken. I don't know. But imagine a baby chicken, inside the, eh?
A chick.
A chick, yeah. So imagine a chick inside the egg. It needs to break it from inside, and it needs, just for the conversation, it needs the power to break it, the willingness, the stamina, the desire, that it has to break it. Weakness will make the chick die. It won't break the egg. It won't break the egg. So to break the illusion, sometimes these combinations happen. The humbleness that you don't know, the openness, the curiosity, but also the fearlessness to stay as you are without defining yourself is tremendous. It's tremendous. And yet it's natural. You can see it in nature. Nature, it has a light aspect and it has a dark aspect that can shake to the ground your beliefs. It's so powerful. It's so, so powerful, and yet so loving and tender and caring. But you can't take one, you can take the other away from the other, you know? And I'm talking about nature. That has nothing to do with the self. The self is even infinite more powerful without conditions. And that's who you are, you know? That's why it's really important never to negate anything about you, neither the light or the dark, but never accepting that you are even those things or they define you in any way. Like I said, they'll still, those qualities of God, they're still happening within the dream or the game. But like I said, some qualities within the game can push you even further into your own self. One of them, of course, the most powerful one of all is the witness. The witness has no conditions, doesn't have to pretend anything, doesn't have to be nice or loving or not loving, nothing. It's just witnessing the game for the sake of the game and let the beauty of the game unfold as it has to be. It doesn't try to be anything, doesn't try to belong, doesn't try to nothing, because it's beyond any of those misconceptions. That's the most powerful one. And yet, it's just an invitation to something more natural. That's why there's emotions. It's okay. Open, completely open. There's no emotions, perfect, completely open. There's thoughts or no thoughts, completely open, without rejecting anything, but without accepting anything as if we were you. Don't take it to the game of you. I'm experiencing, I'm noticing, I'm nothing. Don't take it. You stay as that I amness, awareness, witnessing ish. That's it. Let everything be. Let everything be. You know, that's humbling, you know, because I remember in the past, I will have to deal or manage anything that will happen in front of me, let's say. Emotions, no, emotions. Or let's say there would be an intense energy. No, I gotta be peaceful. I gotta pretend to be, I was exhausted, you know, because I was managing all the time my experience, how I feel, how I present myself, how I have to act. And it's like, no, I'm not gonna do it anymore. I'm just gonna be humble enough to accept everything with love, but without owning it to me, you know. That's it. I just gonna watch everything as it is. And there was tremendous healing, you know, of ideas, things that I've learned, things that I took it for myself so I can be a good, loving person, so I was accepted by others. I was just, whoa. You know, I was like amazed by how many beliefs there were, you know, underneath, blocking a pure experience, you know. So that's why you stop, allow everything. There's confusion, awesome. I don't know anything, great. Everything is clear, awesome. You know, everything. Open to everything as it is without trying to make it a different, you know. It's not clear. How can I make it clear? No, it's okay. Discover the gift in the unclarity. That's the beautiful game here. Everything that presents, instead of pushing it away or accepting it, just see it for what it is. It's inviting you to discover something more pure that the appearance of things can't show, you know, everything. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Something else I've been noticing is that in an attempt to become like more spiritual or figure something out or get somewhere or become something more, there's always this search for meaning, wanting to understand or get to the bottom of it. But really that search for meaning, all it does is add to the story, therefore strengthens the person. So that's a big like red flag for me when I notice that I'm trying to figure it out, like trying to search for the meaning. Why did it happen and what's underneath it? And yeah, it's just another part of the story that I'm not.
Mhm. Amazing discoveries. Mhm.
Yeah, even the discoveries, they don't even make any sense anymore. Because any discoveries in the past, it's dead.
Mhm.
Who cares?
Yeah, it's fascinating, you know. And yet, for example, these discoveries, they're just, how to say it? I think one day we had this conversation with Gemma in one of the meetings, I think, that you can be, for example, talking with friends about daily life, let's say, but you're playing the inner game. You know, whatever you're doing in your daily life, your platform from exploring life, let's say, is the inner game, empty, quiet. And it keeps pushing you into the emptiness of not participating at all in anything, just as the pure witness of things, you know. And at the same time, thanks to the unreality of things, there's a vow to them because of that you can see the real, you know, too. Like I said, it has never been about rejection either. It's about recognition. For example, everything that you have lived has brought you here. So in a sense, you gotta be thankful. You know, it brought you here. It can take you further for sure, but it just, you can acknowledge it brought you here. Thank you. Thank you for this beautiful journey. And you can take it like that: consciousness, time, questions, curiosity, desires. Like, thank you. You push me so strong to finally pay attention to that which I didn't pay attention to, let's say, you know. So thank you. I'm grateful, because without all of you, I wouldn't have the chance to finally recognize myself, let's say. So that's why it's tricky. Also, the rejection thing. You can reject. You can reject in terms of your I-ness. That's for sure. You can and you should reject everything in front of you as if can tell anything about you. But that, like I said, we're playing now in the game of your true nature, your true identity. That's when you gotta reject everything for sure. Only for that. But for the rest, embrace, acceptance, love, you know, everything, because everything has its place too. If you want to cross, let's say, a river, you take a boat. When you cross the river, you can say, thank you, boat. You helped me cross the river. Thank you, because without you, I wouldn't be able to cross the river, you know? Then you leave the boat and walk away and forget about the boat. You leave it where it has to. The only thing that the only place when it can actually surf, which is in the edge of the river. You don't take the boat on your head and keep walking, keep walking, keep walking in the savannah, expecting for another river to show up when it might never happen. You leave the boat behind and forget about it and ciao, ciao. Thank you. Next journey, empty journey, quiet journey. Don't do anything journey. That's the next game. But of course, it's important to thank you, everything. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Even the gift of the intellectual of their understanding. Even the gift of discernment, of clarity, because they are still in the past, of course. But the more you embrace them, the more you thanks them, I don't know however you say it, without owning it or appropriate it or bring it to you, is freeing, you know, is embracing, is enclosing, encompassing everything instead of just pushing away. No. How can you push away something that is your own too, is yourself too? You know, you can't. You can't. That's why even the illusion is real and yet is not real. You know, it's tricky. It exists and yet it doesn't exist. It's tricky to pinpoint. That's why I said sometimes it's tricky to split the two between the real and the unreal. You break free from that when everything that you acknowledge or that you think you are, you stop doing that, you know. Then it's simpler, you know. It's simpler. It's funny, like I said, it's funny. It's like you have a glass of water that is salty water, you know. You cannot really split the two, water and salt, unless it goes through a process. That's the same thing. How do you split reality and unreality? How do you split self and no self? How do you break it apart? It's almost impossible because they are together, intertwined, you know. It's like there's these examples, that's why they bring these examples. It's like the butter is in the milk. It's already in the milk. The milk, if you go through a process, it will become butter, you know. It's already, the potentiality of the butter within the milk is there. How do you make it happen? Through a process. Here, how do you take or bring forward the reality of the self to discovering the one that is behind everything? That's how suddenly the milk is not longer a milk and becomes butter. That's how the self suddenly, boom. That's how in the, how do you say, the sugar canes? How do you take out the sugar from the cane? Through a process, let's say. How do you take the self out of the duality of multiplicity? Self-knowledge. Recognizing who you are without definition. And suddenly, it blasts. It blasts. But it's by integration too. That's what is fascinating, because if you have read, let's say, teachers, they contradict each other. Fascinating. Some of them say reject everything. Some of them say don't reject anything. Some of them says fast. Some of them say just eat. It's like fascinating, all these perspectives, because all perspective have a place in the game. You know, have a place in the game. But they have a place in the game when you understand fully the context and the situation that you're in, the world that you're in. Some things might apply, some things might not apply. And the best way is to ask, to be exposed, so the cleanse, you know, so the mirror or the glasses from where you're watching can actually be cleaned. Is by exposition, by this constant transmission. It's so simple, it's unbelievable, but at the same time, it's fascinating that it might need these gatherings. And I think it's more about humbleness, you know, humbleness and the recognition that everything is you, and then you need the love of the self to vow to the greatest of greatest, which is this moment void of everything, and be humble about it. I think that's the gift of these kind of situations. And it's immediate. I mean, the gift is immediate. It doesn't immediately. There's freedom, clarity, openness, naturalness, and the real and the unreal start to present, and the fog by itself start to disappear, you know, dissipate too. And it's immediate, you know, doesn't take time. Here is amazing. The less you do, it's like more powerful, you know, more humbling. The more quiet you are, the more empty you are, more is given. The more you take yourself out of the equation, everything blossoms in front of you without your input or anything, you know. It's fascinating. One last thing, and I finish, and then you have anything, and you know we'll say goodbye, because I know it's getting late for you. But you have no idea how much admiration I have for everyone that is here right now. You have no idea. I understand what it requires for one to follow the thread of the heart, walking into the unknown, discover a new land, let's say, start to letting go what was known and experienced, the traps that the consciousness game has are is the trickiest one to break from. It's harder than all the experiences of all the drug addicts people in the world. The game of consciousness is the hardest one. You have no idea how much admiration I have for you, because I understand fully the amnesia, the numbness that the senses, stillness, all those things can actually create, and just put fuel on the ego, you know, and its reality. You have no idea how much I admire you. The fire to just keep on going, be open, be willing, discovering something more natural and true about you than the things in front of you, and break free from the mesmerized state, you know. the hypnotism about the senses and the mind. And and I'm so happy to know your discoveries, because they're big discoveries, you know, big discoveries that are poking duality, you know, breaking, you know, like I said in the example of the balloon with the air, like with the needle is boom, you know, everything that seems to be real when it is not, can have the chance to finally stop conditioning the simplicity of your own true self, you know. I know that it's worth everything. It's worth everything, you know. So you have no idea how much admiration and feel honor about being in your presence. Have no idea.
Likewise, I feel very fortunate to have discovered you, Sarkan, and your leadership and your just your way. It's just fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. How's everyone?
Sarkan, we're the ones who are honored and humbled more than you can possibly imagine. So thank you. Did that come through?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi. Before this meeting, I was ready to walk away from these meetings. I find them too full on and too full of stuff. But tonight has been so gentle and enlivening. So I'm very grateful. I with some help from a friend, I managed to clock in, because I can't do these bloody computers. They're just beyond me. Anyway, next time I'll try again. But thank you, Sarkan. You're a big blessing.
A big sorry?
You're a blessing.
Ah, blessing. Thank you. No, thank you. Likewise.
Thank you, Sarkan. Thank you, everybody that is there. I love you so much, everybody.
Yeah, thank you from me also. It's been great to see everybody. Thank you, Sarkan.
Thank you all. Enjoy. Have fun. Just baby steps. Just baby steps. That's all. Like a beautiful adventure. That's it. No, that's it. Baby steps. That's all. That's it.
Muchas gracias. Buenas noches.
Ya, buenas noches. Los amo mucho. Chao.
Chao.